Kelsey Mitchell may have stopped Angel Reese's comeback story before it even had a real chance to begin. Just this past weekend, Reese returned to a professional basketball court for the first time since stepping away from the 2025 season because of a back injury, the same type of issue that also cut her 2024 season short. After being away for so long, many fans expected a strong return, but the performance raised more questions than excitement. Waiting for her was Kelsey Mitchell, an all-star guard from the Indiana Fever who looked sharp and completely in control. From the start of the game, Mitchell played with confidence and rhythm, while Reese appeared to still be adjusting to the speed of competition. The difference between the two players became obvious as the game went on. Mitchell didn't just outplay Reese, she delivered when it mattered most. In the final moments, she attacked off the dribble and scored the game-winning basket, leaving Reese trailing on the play. By the end of the night, Reese finished with the worst plus-minus on her team.
Money Mitch put Angel Reese in a ditch. Kelsey Mitchell finds herself at the three-point line, one-on-one against the great one. You know. One-on-one against Angel Reese. Takes her off the dribble, blow by. Angel Reese, seeing stars, bend over, touch your toes. Kelsey Mitchell.
The return looked like someone still trying to regain rhythm and timing. It showed how difficult it can be to step back into professional basketball after a long absence. Now the discussion has started among fans and analysts alike. Some believe Reese simply needs more time to regain her form, while others think bigger changes may be necessary for her future. But one moment from the game keeps getting replayed and talked about. Late in the action, Kelsey Mitchell found herself at the three-point line, matched up one-on-one with Angel Reese. It was the kind of matchup that immediately grabbed
Angel Reese suspended again. Bang! Her own team suspended her because she missed too many layups. First time we've ever seen somebody suspended because they're booty cheeks. Bang! She's so embarrassed she got suspended by her own team. She's now faking a back injury. Bang! This performance, that back brace ain't doing nothing. She's hugging. She's laughing. Not a coincidence. She's also in a movie now.
Across highlights and social media, not just because it decided the outcome, but because of what it seemed to represent. One player looked sharp and ready for the moment, while the other looked like she was still trying to catch up to the pace of the game. How does a player with Angel Reese's profile keep disappearing just when the season reaches its toughest moments? It's a question more and more people have started asking, and when you look at the timeline, the pattern becomes hard to ignore. Reese left the 2024 WNBA season early because of a hand injury. Then she didn't finish the 2025 Unrivaled season. After that, she missed the final stretch of the 2025 WNBA season with a back injury. 3 different seasons, 3 early exits, and each time it happened when the pressure was at its highest, and the games...
In a movie, you got a podcast, 2K cover, but you can't hit a jump shot. Bang! Season's over, so let's rewind the tape to her first meme of the season. Let's get it! Bang! 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 My favorite play of the season for her. It took her 4, 5, 6, 7. Tries to make it to the basket. The anti-gravity shot. Bang! Defender not leaving the ground to block your shot. Bang! What's up? Come get some! Bang!
Shoot, I feel like I'm forgetting something.
Oh yeah! Butter pecan! Bang!
When she returned to play, some observers questioned how serious the injury situation really was. Reese appeared relaxed on the sidelines and during warm-ups, smiling, interacting with teammates, and moving normally. To some fans, it didn't look like someone still struggling with a major physical limitation, which only fueled more speculation and debate. Of course, injuries and recovery are rarely simple, and only the player and medical staff truly know the full situation. But from the outside, the repeated absences and unclear timelines have created doubt among supporters and critics alike. Many critics say it doesn't feel like a coincidence anymore. While questions about her performance continue, Angel Reese has also been involved in several off-court projects, including media appearances and entertainment opportunities. Some observers argue that it sometimes looks like her focus is spread across 2.
Mitchell calls game over Angel Reese. Oh, snap.
To Billis. Back out Mitchell. 5 to shoot. Crossover. Nifty dribble. Turns.
Oh, don't slam the ball. Don't slam the ball, Angel. Come on. It's not that serious. It's Unrivaled. Don't slam the ball.
Progress. Without that transparency, fans are often left guessing about what is really happening behind the scenes. When people are left without answers long enough, they naturally begin to form their own conclusions. That uncertainty has become part of the conversation surrounding Reese's absences. Some fans compare this situation to the approach taken by the Indiana Fever. When players such as Caitlin Clark deal with injuries, the organization typically provides clear updates about their status. Supporters know what is happening and why, which creates a sense of accountability and trust. For many observers, that difference in communication stands out. At the same time, Reese's public profile has continued to grow through interviews, social media, and other projects. While building a brand is part of modern professional sports, critics argue that performance on the court still has to come first. They believe that outside attention means little if it is not matched by steady improvement in the game itself. Looking back at her return, even small moments drew attention. Simple plays like rebounds or finishes around the basket became talking points, with fans analyzing every possession closely. Some sequences showed effort and determination, while others highlighted the areas where improvement is still needed. Then February 2026 arrived, and Reese returned looking physically ready to play. Angel Reese showed no visible limp, no clear signs of discomfort, and nothing that suggested a serious back issue was still limiting her movement. To many observers, she appeared healthy and prepared to compete, but that raised a new set of questions. If the injury had truly been serious enough to keep her out for such a long stretch of the WNBA season, what exactly happened during the recovery period? What did the rehabilitation process involve? Who cleared her to return, and when was that decision made? Those details were never clearly explained. Because of the lack of information, the game itself added another dramatic moment to the conversation. Late in the action, Kelsey Mitchell delivered the decisive play, attacking confidently and scoring the basket that sealed the outcome. As the final moments unfolded, the contrast between the two players became the focus of attention once again. Frustration was visible in the closing seconds, with emotions running high after a difficult return. It was the kind of reaction that often follows a tough competitive night, especially when expectations are so high. The comeback had been highly anticipated, but the ending reminded everyone how challenging the path back can be. There is also a basketball cost that often gets overlooked. Missing games means losing more than just minutes on the court. It means missing practice repetitions, film study sessions, conditioning work, and real game situations against live defenders. Those daily details are what help players improve over time. When those opportunities disappear, development slows down. Every early exit creates a gap in progress, and those gaps rarely fix themselves. They usually grow wider. That reality became clear during the February 20th return. Angel Reese came back looking like someone still trying to regain rhythm, while a prepared opponent was already operating at full speed. On the other side was Kelsey Mitchell, an all-star from the Indiana Fever, who looked sharp and fully ready for the moment. The difference between steady preparation and time away from competition showed itself throughout the game. That leads to another important question. How does a player who has been sitting out return in the middle of a season without complications? In the case of Unrivaled, roster spots are usually handled through a structured system where players are assigned through an organized pool. Mid-season entries are not normally simple, and there are rules designed to manage roster construction and player eligibility. Because of that structure, Reese's return sparked discussion about how the process worked in this situation. Candace Parker, one of the most respected voices in women's basketball, publicly raised questions about whether the league may have stretched its own guidelines to allow the move. Parker's comments drew attention because of her experience and reputation. As a Hall of Fame-level player, she understands how professional leagues operate and how important consistent rules can be. When someone with that level of knowledge questions a decision, people tend to listen. The situation has added another layer of debate to an already closely watched comeback. When someone at that level questions the exemption process, people naturally start paying closer attention. Comments from experienced voices like Candace Parker carry weight because they come from someone who understands how professional leagues are supposed to operate. When concerns are raised publicly, it pushes the conversation beyond just one player and turns it into a broader discussion about fairness and consistency. The timing of the situation made the debate even stronger. Heading into February, the newer Unrivaled competition was still trying to build its audience, and expectations for women's basketball had been rising quickly. Much of that momentum came from the popularity of players like Caitlin Clark, whose impact in the WNBA helped set a new standard for attention and viewership. Against that backdrop, Angel Reese returning to action quickly became a major talking point. Her comeback generated headlines, social media discussions, and media coverage almost immediately. The league suddenly had a fresh storyline that drew attention and conversation. That has led some observers to ask whether the decision was purely about basketball or partly about business. Professional leagues often have to balance competition with promotion, but when those lines begin to overlap too much, questions about credibility can follow. For some fans, this situation raised concerns about whether consistent rules were applied there is also another angle that people have considered. Reese's personal brand and endorsement opportunities depend heavily on staying visible and active. Sponsors
Angel Reese, part 39, let's get it! They only lost by 19! Bang! Starting to feel bad. The other teams are starting to feel bad too. They're just gonna let her have it. Like, here you go! Like that Make-A-Wish kid scoring a touchdown in a wheelchair. Bang! Come here, cut my arm. You're gonna say that I bleed Angel Reese transition threes? How about it? Bang! 23 of her 81 shots this year have been blocked. 28%. Ain't that crazy? Bang! Guess not if you can't jump over a blade of grass because your ass. Bang!
Immediately put Angel Reese back in the public conversation. Reports have circulated questioning her financial situation, and while details are hard to confirm, the urgency of her comeback suggested that she might have needed to be playing for personal or brand reasons more than the league needed her on the court. But here's the part that should concern Unrivaled. The gamble didn't deliver the results they might have hoped for. Reese's return sparked headlines and discussion, but it didn't create the same kind of impact that Caitlin Clark consistently brings to the WNBA whenever she plays. Clark drives ratings and attention because she performs at an elite level every single time. Reese's return, by contrast, generated more conversation about missed layups and a -9+-. A very different kind of spotlight, and one that doesn't build a league's credibility or excitement in the same way. Meanwhile, on the court, Kelsey Mitchell was creating highlight-worthy moments. With 5 seconds to shoot, she executed a sharp crossover, turned the corner, and drove into the lane.
Your corn on the cob. You got butter? Butter? Did you say butter? Butter pecan! Bang! Y'all want to see a dunk in the WNBA? Me too! Bang! Crazier stat is that she averages more turnovers per game than field goals made. Bang! Got her double-double, am I right? Double-double. Give me that rebound. Bing, 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 bang. 18. It's hot. She's dropping back. She's in the pocket. She's scanning the field. And she's picked off. Going the other way. She's at the 40, 30, 20, 10. End zone. Touchdown. Bang!
One of the toughest matchups in women's basketball. She found multiple ways to score, using her handles to navigate defenders and turning the corner with ease. Playing as a lefty, she created angles and opportunities that were extremely difficult to defend. Against any close defender, she posed a major challenge, and by the top of the game, it was clear she was going to be the player to make the decisive plays. For the Indiana Fever to win, Mitchell was the one who could close it out, a fact reflected in the narrow margins of the Hive's season victories, with all 4 wins coming by 3 points or fewer and season-high points in the 80s. Looking deeper, the story around Angel Reese's return is really a combination of 3 separate challenges stacked together. First, the league may have compromised its own
Right here. when Kelsey Mitchell says, right, she gets it in the corner and she says, "Oh, this is Angel Reese. Let me bring you out to deep waters. Let me get you out to deep waters and let me cook up real quick." Off the dribble, game winner, Angel Reese. This isn't the best defensive form. When you see how far hunched over she is, trying to stay with, yeah, come on, you're gonna lose that 10 times out of 10 times, especially against Kelsey Mitchell. Guards can't even keep up with Money Mitch. Guards can't even keep up with Money Mitch.
While Unrivaled focused on orchestrating Reese's return, the Indiana Fever were out there building a team with real cohesion and chemistry. On paper, Reese's stat line, 13 points and 8 rebounds, looks respectable. But a closer look shows the box score is doing a lot of heavy lifting, masking deeper issues. Teams like Chelsea Gray and Stevens executed plays efficiently, finishing around the basket with ease. Reese and her teammates, including Austin, were facing a defensive unit that hadn't had to adjust to her rhythm in months. The Rose Basketball Club essentially got a version of Reese no team had stress-tested yet. Defending a player returning from a long absence.
Joking on the internet right now, this is what Angel Reese saw while guarding Kelsey Mitchell. This is what Angel Reese saw while guarding Kelsey Mitchell. Just Kelsey Mitchell, bam, right past her.
Players at this level usually make effortlessly in practice, warm-ups, or mid-range attempts. Contested threes and routine finishes around the rim didn't fall either. The contrast between a player who has been consistently competing and someone returning from months off was glaring, and it showed how much time away from game action can erode fundamentals. Mechanics around the rim looked slow and uncertain, like someone whose body remembered the motions, but hadn't experienced real game speed in a long time. Yet it's important to note that these finishing struggles aren't new. Angel Reese has faced critiques about converting close-range shots throughout her professional career, not just after a period of rust. Her game is heavily built on physicality, winning position, battling on the boards, and getting into the right spots before the defense can react. That style only works if she can consistently finish when she arrives in those positions. When those looks don't fall, the foundation of her game begins to crack. In part 39 of her professional journey, the scoreboard reflected the broader story. Even in a game they lost by only 19.
Just because Angel Reese may have gotten the steal here, doesn't mean she would have converted on this bucket. Let's take a look right here from last year.
8-7, the lead has flipped.
Angel Reese with a steal, wide open layup, dumps it off.
Copper, the finish.
Yeah. You guys get the point. Who's to say that Angel Reese would have won up for the layup and actually converted on the layup, right? Who's to say that's actually what would have taken place?
The game's speed and defensive intensity have exposed gaps in her effectiveness. Angel Reese posted a -9 plus-minus in just 10 minutes of play. That means every time she stepped on the court, her team was outscored by 9 points. This isn't a one-time fluke or a rounding error. It reflects a consistent pattern where the game worsened whenever she was involved. Individual stats like points or rebounds can sometimes disguise underlying issues, but plus-minus gives a clear picture of actual impact. Reese has publicly stated that she needs elite teammates around her to perform at her best. The Rose BC roster isn't weak. She had capable support around her. Yet, during her minutes, the team still struggled and was outplayed, which makes her argument about needing surrounding talent land very differently than she likely intended. Conditioning and game readiness also play a huge role. Returning from a long absence, a player's body is not at full competitive speed, even if practice sessions feel smooth. Reaction times slow down.
I'm proud of this group. I think we've shown all season long, like, they're resilient, they're connected, they pull for each other, they enjoy one another, they celebrate one another, and that stuff alone is good for 10 to 12 points a game. And for this group, the way that they share the ball, how unselfish they are, I'm really proud of them. It's not been ideal circumstances all season long, but they've shown the character of who they are. They've been resilient, they've responded to adversity, and they continue to elevate one another. And I couldn't be more proud of this group than I am at this moment.
Every sequence pointed to the reality that absence from full-speed competition had a tangible negative effect on her performance, am I right? Double, double, grab that rebound. Bing, 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 bang. 18. She's dropping back, reading the floor, scanning every angle, and then picks off the ball going the other way. She's at 40, 30, 20, 10 in zone, touchdown. On paper, 13 points and 8 rebounds might look solid, but when you put that next to a -9 plus-minus, missed layups, and the reality that she was about to get exposed by a player who spent every single day of the offseason improving, it tells a very different story. So, what separates a player who has been competing all season from one who just came back? Watch the fourth quarter of this game. Kelsey Mitchell spent the entire 2025-2026 offseason doing exactly what Indiana Fever All-Stars do: playing basketball, sharpening skills, and building team chemistry. Mitchell is one of the most dangerous guards in women's basketball when she attacks downhill. She's fast, decisive, and never hesitates when she sees an opening. That ability, combining speed, anticipation, and court awareness.
I think it just says a lot about who we have as human beings. That was one of the things that we made a priority in the offseason of, who we bring into this organization. Number one, quality human beings, selfless human beings, that want to pull for one another, that understand. We have this depth for a reason, and sometimes it creates challenges getting people on the floor. But in situations like this is why you have it. And I'm just, she's right. I mean, as a pro and as a pro coach, this is one of the most connected groups I've seen.
And trying to adjust, but that half-step delay is all Mitchell needs. Against a player like Mitchell, guards simply can't keep up. Money Mitch reads the floor, anticipates the movement, and exploits openings without hesitation. Late in the game, with the hive down and needing a critical bucket, Mitchell initiates a pick-and-roll with Reese as the primary defender. This is where months of inactivity clash with elite-level decision-making. Mitchell sees the defense, notices Reese's positioning is off by just enough, and attacks immediately. No hesitation, no second-guessing, she sees the lane and goes. Her drive is textbook Mitchell. Change of pace, get the defender leaning, finish through contact. Reese was supposed to be the last line of defense, but she can't recover in time. The ball goes in. The game-winning drive is complete. Hive wins 80-78, and the sequence perfectly illustrates the difference between a player who has been competing all season and one returning after months off.
Are the records that she's broken on the men's and women's side. Caitlin Clark will be the first player ever, Brian, to lead the country in not just scoring. People want to say she's the greatest scorer of all time, and that's true, but scoring and assists. She's the only player to reach 3,000 points and 1,000 assists. No player has ever done that before. So there are things that she's done that no player on the men's or women's side has ever.
Fouling. These are precisely the skills that months away from competitive basketball erode. Reese displayed none of them on that play, not one. Mitchell executed every single component perfectly. A huge reason for the gap is the environment each player trains in every day. Mitchell has Caitlin Clark pushing standards of preparation and professionalism in practice, Aaliyah Boston providing veteran stability and guidance, Lexi Hall with relentless work ethic, and Sophie Cunningham bringing toughness and intensity. That combination shapes how Mitchell performs in critical moments. She was ready because her environment demands readiness, full stop. Reese's environment has been completely different. Public disputes with teammates, criticism of veterans, months away from competitive basketball. Fourth quarter readiness cannot be built in that kind of situation. Readiness